Dear friends, dear friends, one day, maybe, in about 10, 15 years' time, maybe we'll look back on this awful period of history and just laugh. And just laugh and laugh because everyone will be able to laugh. Because just as it is hard to find someone who supported the Iraq War back in the day, I highly suspect soon that you won't be able to find anyone who supported Brexit. And we'll all laugh, but there'll always be that one person who will know deep down in their hearts what they did. And we'll be able to forgive them because in the end they did what was right and voted to rejoin the European Union. I think that is where we are headed, and I think a lot of people, again, I've said this so many times on this channel, lots of people have no idea at any way whatsoever what they are actually voting for to leave the EU, as well as its, intricate complexities and complications that it all brings with it. And we are about to go through that. And we are about to go through that in the most painful of all possible ways, a no-deal Brexit. And this was all brought on by Boris Johnson and his cronies and the people in the ERG, and especially in the Conservative Party, who decided just to go along with it because, well, they just decided to go along with it, really. No other reason. And yesterday, after we went over the emergency buying of the area around Kent, today I found this in The Guardian. And it's local anger over plans for post-Brexit lorry park in Ashford. It is a competitive field when it comes to noise, but the sweet bird song rising up from the 27 acres of ringwort and overgrown grass and dense bumble hedgerows just about wins against the hum of the traffic from the nearby M20 in Kent. But from Monday, the victory for wildlife will end as the first machines and crews start work on the 27-acre Brexit Customs Clearance Centre to process lorries coming from the EU into Dover from January, prompting anger from local residents, a Tory MP and other politicians. Bear in mind, the Tory MP here, the one for Ashford, who represents Ashford, voted for Brexit continuously and says that this is going to be a good thing. And of course, we're now starting to see what do they call it? The whole wind farm things. Everyone wants wind farms, but when they go to put one up, they don't want. That's it. Not in my backyard type of thing. This really reeks of what a lot of these complaints are. But it's what you voted for, and if we are going to do this, we've got to have the infrastructure. And as we told you time and time again, you might not have to have this if we'd stayed in the customs union single market. That was apparently an option that Leave wanted. Why was that never discussed? So anyway, it's the first official infrastructure the government has finalised as part of a 700 million package to put a Brexit border in place, with new IT systems and 500 extra border force officials. On Sunday, Michael Gove deemed it an almost amount to a vast lorry park. The plans were secret until Friday, when the local council was contacted out of the blue by the Department of Transport and told the land was now in public ownership and earmarked for temporary capacity for the holding of delayed HGVs and facilities for border-related controls to be carried out by government agencies. The lack of consultation has triggered anger. Damien Green, the town's Conservative MP and former close ally of Boris Johnson's predecessor, Theresa May, said he was opposed to the site, tweeting that it was unfair to Ashford as it was too close to too many homes. I'm strongly opposed to this and have told ministers this, Green told Kent Online. In a tweet that was subsequently deleted, he wrote, "No one has suggested using this site as a lorry park in the many years of discussions on the subject, and it is too near to too many homes for this to be the right place." Grove, the cabinet minister in charge of implementing Brexit, insisted on the BBC programme Andrew Marr that it would not be a lorry park. But surveying the site on Sunday, the local Green Party spokesperson, Maddie Rosie, dismissed the remarks as semantics. If there is bad weather or disruption the tunnel or in Calais, lorries will have to stop somewhere. Even if the customs post only stops 1 in 100 trucks, that is still a lot, as there are 11,000 lorries movements a day from Dover to the UK. Liz Wright, a Green Party councillor who represents the nearby Willsborough ward, described the plans as a complete shock to local residents and a further nail in the coffin for local democracy. The site, branded Mojo by the developers, used to be farmland separating the historic Steventon and Merisham villages southwest of Ashford. It is now. It was allowed to go to seed in last year amid rumours it had been bought by Amazon. On Friday, the Department for Transport contacted Ashford Borough Council to say that the site was now in public ownership, and the letter would be sent out to residents, telling them work would start on Monday, with fencing and grass and weed vegetation cutting and extensive survey work, construction of a temporary site office, and construction of a temporary access to the site from the A2070. Plans have not yet been finalised for the use of the site, but it is anticipated to form part of the department's strategy to minimise potential disruption at Kent ports for the end of the transition period, the letter says. This is likely to involve temporary capacity for the holding of delayed HGVs and facilities for border-related controls to be carried out by government agencies, e.g. HMRC and Customs. Wright said, "They have imposed this on the community with no notice. The local Ashford Borough Council has done its best to get the letter out to residents on time for Monday, but it's just a disgraceful way to treat local communities." Peter Ricketts, a former diplomat and national security advisor who chairs the Lords EU Security and Justice Subcommittee, branded the plans pointless. Locals living on a lane that ends at the site are also concerned. Paul Tomlin said, "In an ideal world, this would remain farming land. But we don't live in ideal times. My concern is the noise that there is going to be a non-stop from lorries 24/7. And by the way, the quote and tweet from the Lord, Peter Ricketts, "This is also pointless. We are creating a vast customs bureaucracy with cost passed on to the consumer to check goods which already meet EU standards. The UK has continued setting over the last 4 decades. Why?" And that is the exact point. Why are we doing this? When you really get to the nuts and brass about all this, you have to ask that question, why? And there is no why to it. It's pointless. John Barker, who has been walking in Severington area for at least 26 years, said, "It is devastating for people living here. Ashford has just become a development centre." Ashford Borough Council Deputy Leader Paul Barnett welcomes the plans, saying on Facebook that a HMRC clearance depot is vastly preferable to warehouses proposed by AXA Friends of Life and guaranteed planning consent by ABC in 2015. So this is, of course, people are now worried, and this is just one, I'm sure, of the first many things, but it would be interesting to see how many local residents actually voted for Brexit, and how many now know what's being built. Might actually change their minds if they could go back and tell themselves what's being built. So, there you go, but as is normal, that's just Brexit.